There's a single number out there that's quietly shaping almost everything: the pace of innovation, the wiggles of the stock market, and maybe even what your job looks like in a few years. And no, it's not GDP or some inflation rate. It's this.
$42.5 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That's what NVIDIA is projected to make from its data centers in a single quarter in 2026. I mean, that's more than the entire annual GDP of a lot of countries. So yeah, this isn't just some number on an earnings report. It's a huge signal flare for the entire world, and it makes you wonder.
Over the next few minutes, we're going to dig in and explore why the answer to that might just be a big, flashing yes. This number isn't just about money, it's a signpost pointing to the future of, well, everything. Okay, so to really get why this number is such a big deal, we gotta look at the immediate shockwave it's sending through the global markets. This isn't just about one company hitting the jackpot, it's like the birth announcement for a whole new economic reality. This massive number is coming from the absolutely explosive demand for artificial intelligence. AI is the engine roaring behind everything from your hospital's diagnostic tools to the complex logistics that get your groceries delivered. And that projected 18% growth quarter after quarter, believe it or not, right now, that's pretty much the main anchor holding the entire stock market steady. And this quote, wow, it just says it all. We are living through a new gold rush, folks. Only this time, the gold is compute power. We're seeing this fundamental shift in how wealth is even created, and it's forcing all of us to rethink the very limits of economic growth. So, what's really fueling this incredible growth? What's the secret sauce behind that massive number? Well, it all boils down to an almost bottomless demand for one specific thing. The demand is coming from what we call hyperscalers. We're talking about the giants: Amazon, Google, Microsoft, the companies running these massive globe-spanning data centers. They are pouring billions upon billions into NVIDIA to lock down their AI future. And this has completely changed the game. NVIDIA isn't just a chip maker anymore. Think of them as the new landlords of the digital world. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has to pay them rent to even compete in the AI revolution. And this is where these gigantic corporate numbers start to hit home for everyday people. When a teacher like Sarah sees her retirement account jump 5% in a single week, that's not magic. It's a direct ripple effect from those hyperscalers spending billions, turning abstract corporate revenue into real, tangible wealth for her. All of this brings us to what you could call a new era, the compute standard. Seriously, just like the gold standard in the past, the new way we measure economic power, whether it's for a company or an entire country, is its access to the physical hardware that makes AI possible. Now, this insatiable demand is creating a whole new global economy with a brand new set of rules. And whenever one company basically controls the single most important resource in that new economy, it raises a really high-stakes question. NVIDIA's dominance is so extreme that the bottleneck for global GDP growth could literally become the number of chips they can pump out of their factories. I mean, think about that. This concentration of power makes a single company arguably more influential than most countries. And this has kicked off a brand new geopolitical race. All around the world, nations are scrambling to build what they're calling sovereign AI clouds. They're using NVIDIA hardware, of course, but they're doing it to make sure they control their own digital destiny and don't get left in the dust. And it's such a good reminder that behind our seamless digital lives, there's this massive and frankly pretty fragile physical supply chain. We're talking factories running 24/7, cargo ships carefully moving this precious cargo across oceans. This whole revolution depends on the physical movement of atoms. Okay, so let's bring this down to Earth and see how this technology is actually weaving itself into the fabric of our lives. Because it's not just powering stock prices, it's powering some really profound real-world changes. The human impact is just staggering. We're talking about AI in hospitals screening for cancer with almost perfect accuracy, small businesses getting 20 hours a week back thanks to automation, banks stopping fraud in its tracks, and scientists speeding up the discovery of life-saving drugs. But how does NVIDIA keep this crazy growth going? Well, the key is this brilliant strategy of hyper-innovation. See, the chips they sell today are pretty much designed to be obsolete in 18 months. This forces all their customers into a constant upgrade cycle just to keep up, which, for NVIDIA, creates the perfect recurring revenue machine. And let's go back to a real person. For a warehouse manager like James, who's been saving for 30 years, this whole AI surge has given his 401k a much-needed cushion against inflation, giving him a renewed sense of hope for his retirement. So all of this leads us to the biggest question of all. Where does this go from here? Is this the peak, or are we just at the very beginning of something way, way bigger? That $42.5 billion figure, that's not the final destination. It's the down payment. It's a down payment on a future where our own human intelligence is fundamentally boosted by the machines we've built. And that future is getting here a whole lot faster than anyone expected. And ultimately, this is the real story of the AI boom, isn't it? It's the direct translation of massive corporate revenues into individual prosperity. For a young couple like David and Elena, the capital gains from this whole tech shift could literally be the difference that lets them afford a down payment on their first home, a huge life milestone that might have seemed totally out of reach just a few years ago. When you step back and look at this moment, it's pretty clear we've crossed a threshold. We aren't just using technology anymore. In a very, very real sense, we are now living inside a global computer, and NVIDIA is its lead architect. Which leaves us with one last huge thought to chew on. The core story here is that our demand for intelligence, for AI, seems to be infinite. The question is, can the physical supply of chips ever really hope to keep up? And what happens if it can't?